What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Manny K Way. I make weekly videos on self and spiritual development. Today's video is going to be about how you get to stop procrastinating. So when it comes to procrastination, there are two things that we're dealing with here. The expectation you have of yourself being able to actually accomplish and finish the task or the project that you have ahead of you, and also how you get to decrease the impulsiveness that you have when it comes to distractions around you. So the first thing that I'm going to advise you to do is take whatever project or task that you have to accomplish in that day and split it up into small, manageable tasks. When you have small, manageable tasks in front of you, you're more likely to be able to think to yourself that you're going to accomplish those things and then set up a reward for yourself. So when you finish that first task that is a part of that bigger project, you should reward yourself for accomplishing that thing. So let's say you have a project and you take the time out to outline the 5 different things that you have to do for that project. Associate a certain time with that exact task and give yourself that time to accomplish it. If you happen to go over, or maybe you finish in less time, then you can reward yourself accordingly. But setting up a reward system is really going to help you feel like you're working towards something that isn't that big elephant in the room, the big thing that you need to get done. Usually when we procrastinate, it's because we have a lot of overwhelm when it comes to getting the project done and what that means and how much time it's going to take us to accomplish that or finish it. And more often, we don't really feel or expect ourselves to accomplish that task in a given time period because we're so used to procrastinating. We usually leave things to the last minute because we are trained or we have taught ourselves that we can get it done in a shorter amount of time, or that we feel like we work better under pressure. But we want to reverse that trait so you start feeling like you can get ahead of the game. So the first thing that I want you to do, like I said, is split up your project into small, manageable tasks. The second thing when it comes to increasing your expectation of being able to finish the task is asking for help or support if you need it. So what that looks like is ask for an accountability partner, whether that's a classmate or a friend or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or a family member. See if you can get support from others in regards to figuring out a way for you to put together a plan to accomplish the project or the task at hand. So if that means you don't feel like you have all the knowledge that is needed to get the task accomplished, or to do what you need to do, ask for external resources in order to get yourself in a place where you feel and believe that you can actually accomplish the task. Usually we procrastinate because we are afraid of feeling like we don't know what we're doing, or we feel like we don't know what we are being asked to do. And because we don't know, we don't want to spend the time to figure it out. So when you have people in your life who you've asked to be your accountability partners, or when you ask for their support, they're able to show you that you have the resources outside of yourself to figure it out. So when you pair that with number 1, you really increase your expectation of yourself in thinking that you will be able to accomplish and finish this task. So once you do that, we want to work with the other part of the equation that usually leads us down a rabbit hole of leaving everything to last minute. What I want you to start doing is focusing on the hardest part of the task first. So in any given day, we have a certain battery life when it comes to our willpower. And if you focus on the easiest parts of the tasks first, your willpower battery is going to decrease. So when it gets to the part of the project where you are focusing on the harder tasks, you're going to have less energy, and that's the time that you're actually going to need the most energy. Because if you don't have enough energy to do the hardest part of your task, you're more than often going to get more distracted easily, or think that you can step away for a bit because you really don't want to sit there and focus on the hard thing. No one really likes to feel uncomfortable, right? So when we know ourselves and we know that in this process of procrastination, we're essentially trying to trick our brains into doing what we don't want to do, if you're setting yourself up in a way where you are waiting for your willpower battery to be at, let's say, like 30 or 40% to do your hard task, you're setting yourself up for failure, because there's really no way that you yourself are going to want to be in that uncomfortable situation to get that hard part of the project done. So you're going to convince yourself that you can put that thing off for a time period. So that's the third point that I want to make. Figure out the hardest parts of the projects and tackle those things first. Believe me, when I started doing that in my life, it was a huge game changer. Every time it got to that midday slump, maybe 3 or 4 p.m., I would realize that I still had the hardest part of my to-do list still left to do, and then I would cram and I would get anxiety and I would get overwhelmed, and it just wasn't healthy for my mind, body, or soul. So once I shifted and really started putting this third point into practice, I felt so good when 3 or 4 p.m. rolled around because I only had the easy tasks that were a part of that project left to complete, and I had enough energy to do those things because I knew and I expected that I would be able to finish those things quicker. So it's all about tricking your brain here. So I think you're picking up on that as I talk more about this, but it's usually really hard for humans to self-regulate, especially with the society and the way we live now with technology and how we are all about instant gratification. It's really hard to regulate ourselves because there's so many things pulling us in different directions. So this whole process comes down to tricking your mind. The fourth point I want to make is that your environment is super important when it comes to decreasing that impulsiveness when it comes to accomplishing a task. If you're set up in an environment where there are so many distractions around you, maybe there's a TV, maybe there's extra laptop, there's multiple phones, or maybe there are friends around or family members around, you're going to be easily pulled in the direction of wanting to choose something else versus getting that task done. So your environment is going to be super important here. Choose a place that you like to get work done and create that environment for yourself where you know you can focus. So it might take a little bit of practice for you to get into that place where you feel like you've learned what your focused environment is, but figure it out for yourself. Everyone has a different one, right? So I used to love to go to cafes, or back when I was in school, there was a specific part of the USC library that I would love to study at. And I would love to listen to meditation music because that really got me in the zone of feeling empowered and focused, and it really increased the expectation and belief in myself that I would be able to accomplish my task. So whatever that looks like for you, maybe your perfect environment includes you going for a walk before you set yourself up for success, or maybe that looks like dancing for you. Maybe you feel like you have an enormous amount of energy that's not going to allow you to focus, so get that out of you by moving your body in an ecstatic type of way. Or maybe going for a walk in nature might set you up for success to put you in the right mindset for getting work done. The fifth, and in my opinion, most important point when it comes to procrastination is that we usually choose to have low density fun over high density fun. And we're actually setting ourselves up for failure when we do that. So what does that mean? High density fun looks like, oh my God, I really want to watch that 4-hour movie that just came out. This actor and actress is in it and I really, really like them, but I can't do that because I have this amount of work to do. Or I really want to play my favorite video game for 2 hours, but I can't do that because I know it's better for me to set my time aside to actually study and work on that work project that I need to. What usually happens is we tell ourselves that we don't have the time to do that really fun thing that would really make us probably feel rejuvenated and excited about the next time we got to do it. What we do is we choose to participate in low density fun activities like social media apps or things that can distract us on our phones that we're going to be scrolling at, or maybe those games that are pretty addictive on your phone as well. And usually they're not really fun. We're just distracting ourselves because we're trying to avoid the task that we want to accomplish. When in actuality, we really don't want to be scrolling on Facebook or Instagram. We want to be playing our favorite video game, and we think that we're not spending the same amount of time doing it because we wanted to play the game for 2 hours and we're only going to spend 5 or 10 minutes on Facebook or Instagram. But what ends up happening is we do that Facebook and Instagram scrolling for just as much time as it would have been if we had just set aside the 2 hours to play our video game. And honestly, if that is what is high density fun for us, that's going to give us more energy and enthusiasm when it comes to putting effort into our work, because it's, again, applying that reward system idea, right? So having that high density fun activity to look forward to is super beneficial because it builds up that anticipation. And if you set yourself up for success in a way where you know you get to accomplish this task before you get to do that thing that you really want, you're more than often going to really focus on what you need to do because you want to get it out of the way so you can have that really high density fun in your day. I want to go over the 5 things real quick one more time. So when it comes to increasing the expectation you have of yourself of finishing the task, the number one thing I want you to do is to take that project that you have and turn it into manageable bite-sized pieces. Allocate certain times for those small parts of the project so you can see and follow your thought process on how you're going to get this done. It's a lot easier to process and manage that way. Number 2 is don't be afraid to ask for help or support. Knowing that you have external resources around you that can help support you if you're in a tough spot or if you feel like you can't figure it out on your own is really supportive in having you believe in yourself that you can actually get this done. That way, there's a less likely of a chance that you're going to delay off whatever you have to get done for longer. The third point is that I want you to focus on the harder tasks first. When you use your willpower battery for the harder tasks first, it's a lot easier for you to then accomplish the task in a way that is most beneficial for you and going to set you up for success. The fourth thing is to be super aware of your environment and make sure you're setting yourself up for success when it comes to the activity you're doing before you start the task, where exactly you're doing that task and not having distractions, and also setting yourself up in a way where you feel empowered to do the task. And for me, that was music. The fifth thing then is applying that reward system and recognizing that you do get to have high density fun. It's up to you to allocate that time for yourself so you will feel rejuvenated and excited to get the work done that you need to do so that you have that one thing to look forward to. If you continuously tell yourself that you don't have time for that, you're never going to get around to it because procrastination feels like this never-ending cycle and you're always working up until the last minute anyways, and then your whole week's gone by and then you have a new project or task to hit the ground running with, right? So it's this vicious cycle that feels like it'll stop once that thing is over, but then a new thing just comes right back in. So allow yourself to have fun and feel empowered. It's super important when it comes to procrastination. If you guys got any value from this video, definitely like and comment down below. What are some of the new things that you learned and how are you going to apply them in your daily life? If you haven't hit subscribe or that notification bell yet, please do. I love you guys so much. Until next time, see you soon.